Justin Baldoni's team has issued a response in opposition to dismiss the New York Times.
How the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative.
We actually want all evidence to come out that's proper and appropriate evidence.
Blake Lively's lawyer resigned after Brian Friedman unleashed a bombshell update in their lawsuit. And frankly, it's no surprise that the defense was sinking from day one. Trying to defend a case built on nothing but smoke and mirrors is an act only a top-notch illusionist could attempt. Stepping away was undoubtedly the smartest choice to salvage her reputation from sinking with that doomed venture. In the wake of this bombshell, Blake Lively's legal team has descended into chaos, and it's high time. No one can fault her for that. Defending a case unraveling without any solid proof to support Blake's claims is as absurd as dousing a blaze with gasoline. The moment Brian Friedman unleashed his bombshell update, it was evident that this case was in free fall. Initially, remarkably, Blake's case seemed to boast a mix of sexual harassment, body shaming, and breastfeeding allegations, the exact recipe for a public sympathy campaign. However, in reality, not a single piece of evidence supported any of these claims. The deeper Justin Baldoni's team investigated, the more Blake's allegations unraveled like a shoddy script, with no messages, no documents, and nothing to prove she wasn't fabricating. Every foothold Blake's legal team found quickly turned into incredibly treacherous quicksand. Now here's the kicker. Blake's PR team was deeply involved in the mess. While they appeared to be champions of justice, in truth, they were more focused on preserving a polished image. They persistently urged Conan and the crew to battle on, even though there was absolutely no evidence to support Blake's claims. Maybe they thought that a smart PR spin could magically secure a victory, but the court simply doesn't care about Instagram posts. It's all about the cold, hard facts. As if that wasn't enough, Conant faced relentless pressure from every single side. Representing Blake, a high-profile client determined to win at any cost, even when the evidence is simply missing. Then, out came a massive 170-page legal release from Baldoni's team. This document wasn't just a challenge to Blake's case, it practically shredded it to pieces. The claims of sexual harassment and non-existent body shaming were completely off the mark. Every single claim by Blake was methodically dismantled. And as the case unfolded, it became clear that she was trying to portray herself as the victim. There was not a shred of evidence, just a barrage of baseless assertions. And the more Conant fought, the more she realized she was defending nothing at all. Now, you might wonder why Conant didn't catch the warning signs from day one. Believe it or not, there was a time when the media giant, the New York Times, wholeheartedly endorsed Blake's case, casting it as an unassailable win-win proposition that convinced everyone of its strength. Poor Blake Lively's legal team likely believed they had struck gold when the New York Times released a video article in December 2024, making her claims appear virtually unassailable. They thought they had hit the jackpot, but reality told a very different story. Oh, the sweet taste of mainstream media credibility. For a fleeting shining moment, it appeared that Blake had discovered the holy grail of support, a golden ticket that could change everything. An article titled, "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine" served as a desperate PR maneuver to make her accusations against Justin Baldoni and Wayfair Studios seem as solid as a courtroom verdict. After all, if the Times, the very same media powerhouse that has shaped history for decades, gives its seal of approval, then it must be true, right? Yet, as with many things that appear too good to be true, reality struck Blake's team with brutal force just when they believed they had the Times on their side. Suddenly, Justin Baldoni's legal enforcer, Brian Friedman, delivered a counterpunch that would have left anyone breathless. Friedman did not waste a moment and swiftly filed an opposition to cut out the New York Times' involvement. According to Friedman, the New York Times wasn't merely reporting on Blake's allegations. They were practically affirming them as fact. They presented the claims in such a compelling way that it became hard to tell if they were crafting a straightforward news article or an opinionated editorial. Friedman made it clear, the Times didn't simply act as a reporter. They played the role of an advocate. Friedman didn't stop at accusing the Times of bias. Oh no, he went even further. He charged them with violating the fair report privilege, that crucial safeguard which protects media outlets when covering legal matters. You know, the very protection that lets journalists report on court cases without getting dragged into the drama. But here's the kicker. According to Friedman, the Times didn't just report on Lively's claims. They framed them as undeniable truth. They didn't merely tell the public, hey, Blake says this happened. Instead, they implied the matter had already been thoroughly investigated and confirmed. That's not reporting, it's shaping a narrative. By doing so, the Times lost the protection of the fair report privilege. In other words, they opened themselves up to a lawsuit. A genius move, huh? Friedman's legal challenge was a bombshell in its own right. He argued that the Times wasn't just guilty of sloppy journalism, but was actively involved in wrecking the Wayfair Party's reputation. They presented Lively's account as if it were not only confirmed, but undeniably true. Legally, this poses a huge problem because media outlets aren't allowed to present unverified claims as facts. It's one thing to report what someone claims, but it's entirely different to assert that it actually happened, especially when no proper investigation has been done. The line between journalism and advocacy became dangerously blurred, and Friedman was clearly highlighting this issue. Oh, but wait, it gets even better. The article and video weren't just shady because of how they were framed. They were rushed out at a suspicious time. Friedman noted that the Times essentially forced this piece out during the holidays, leaving the Wayfair parties almost no time to respond. It was as if they knew precisely when to drop the bombshell for maximum impact, with timing that perfectly aligned with Blake's PR strategy. According to Friedman, this wasn't merely poor journalism, it was pure bad faith. The Times seemed committed to the story long before giving the other side a fair chance to defend themselves. The fact that the story had been finalized days before the Wayfair parties were even contacted didn't look good at all. It made it seem as though the Times wasn't interested in the truth. They were just focused on pushing the narrative. Friedman didn't just object to the timing. He blasted the entire ethical approach behind the Times piece. It wasn't merely about poor timing or sloppy editing. It was about the fact that the media outlet had already clearly picked sides. They hadn't merely reported Blake's claims. They had already decided to back her up, leaving no room for any other version of the story. It wasn't a fair or balanced report. It was a one-sided endorsement disguised as journalism, and Friedman believed that crossed a line. For Blake Lively, what looked like a golden opportunity to bolster her case with the Times' support quickly turned into a trap. Neither she nor her team anticipated that support from a media giant could become a double-edged sword. This move gave Baldwin's team the perfect opening to attack the credibility of the entire media campaign. Friedman didn't merely target Blake's claims. He blasted the media for amplifying them without proper verification. Instead of riding high on the Times endorsement, Blake's team had to fend off an entirely new legal battle over the ethics of media reporting. And just when things got juicier, Brian Friedman, Justin Baldwin's lawyer, showed up with a full arsenal of legal ammunition in the ongoing drama between Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and the Wayfair parties. Now, the battle over jurisdiction has taken center stage. Yes, you read that right. Jurisdiction is the legal tug-of-war that could determine how the entire case unfolds. And spoiler alert, it's crucial. This fight isn't just about where the case is filed. It's about where reputations are defended and where defamation claims hit the hardest. Friedman's strategy is clear. He's pushing for a move to California, declaring that this case belongs in the land of Hollywood, not New York. Friedman's argument is clear. California law offers far greater protection in defamation cases, and that's exactly what he's after. California is where Baldoni and the Wayfair parties are based, and it's the region where their reputations are most at risk. Let's face it, California is the entertainment industry's playground, so any damage to their image hits even harder here than anywhere else. One would think this is the perfect clue that California is the logical jurisdiction for this case. The Wayfair parties' careers have taken a direct hit in California, and Friedman doesn't shy away from pointing that out. While the New York Times sparked a media frenzy, the fallout was felt most acutely in the very place where these individuals make their living. California defamation laws are much more generous when it comes to awarding damages, and Friedman knows exactly how to leverage that to his advantage. He isn't just aiming for a win, he's out to make a bold statement, and what better stage than California? Now, here's the real kicker. Friedman isn't merely fighting over the venue, he's calling out the New York Times for carelessly twisting the facts. The timing was not a mere coincidence. It was a calculated move. While the Times, clearly enjoying a cozy holiday season, published this explosive article, Friedman was left wondering why they rushed it out without even giving the embattled Wayfair parties a proper chance to respond. According to Friedman, they had only a few hours to mount a defense before the Times went full steam ahead and published the bombshell without giving the other side a chance to respond. Classic move, right? They just dropped the bomb without offering any opportunity for a rebuttal. And it's even worse that all of this unfolded around Christmas time. Talk about real convenient timing. Friedman argues that this wasn't merely a case of poor journalism, it was a deliberate effort to push the story out the door without fully vetting it. That is a clear sign of bad faith reporting, but it doesn't stop there. Friedman is ready to call out the Times for something far more serious: actual malice under U.S. defamation law. Proving actual malice means showing that the New York Times either knew the information was false or acted with reckless disregard for its truth. Friedman has a rock-solid case here. According to him, the Times possessed all the internal documents, communications, and evidence needed to demonstrate that Blake's claims were, at best, shaky. Instead of digging deeper, the Times chose to push the narrative they preferred without question. They didn't take the time to double-check the facts. They simply unleashed a sensational story. This is where Friedman forcefully slams the Times, not only for getting the facts wrong, but for doing so deliberately. This isn't merely an error in reporting, it's malicious intent. Friedman isn't the only one who thinks this way. His legal challenge is all about holding the media giant accountable for what he views as reckless and potentially harmful reporting. Friedman doesn't hold back. He points out that the New York Times didn't even give the Wayfair parties a fair chance to respond to the serious accusations. It wasn't merely about rushing publication. The Times was actively crafting the narrative without considering the complete picture. The Wayfair parties were denied sufficient time to present their side before the article hit the public. And Friedman argues that this is a clear breach of journalistic fairness. The way the Times presented Blake's claims made them appear as verified facts when, in reality, they were nothing but unverified allegations, an intentional distortion that undermines the integrity of reporting. At the heart of Friedman's challenge is a burning question of journalistic ethics. Was the New York Times truly interested in uncovering the truth, or were they more intent on pushing a predetermined narrative? According to Friedman, the answer is glaringly obvious. The Times presented the allegations as if they were irrefutable, using their platform to give Blake's claims the weight of undeniable truth. Yet, they never bothered to thoroughly investigate or verify the facts. They simply ran with the story. Friedman argues that this reckless approach is where they unmistakably crossed the line. Then, of course, there's Lady C, a prominent figure who never hesitates to speak her mind about how celebrities manipulate the media. Lady C has gone full throttle on social media, boldly calling out both Blake Lively and the New York Times for what she sees as a carefully orchestrated PR strategy aimed at destroying Baldoni's career, and she's not holding back. According to Lady C, by endorsing Blake's version of events, the New York Times unwittingly became an accomplice in this smear campaign. Lady C's accusation is monumental. She is accusing the Times of discarding basic journalistic principles and becoming merely another cog in Blake's media machine. And honestly, her words pack a powerful punch. She isn't the only one raising these concerns. The power of celebrity in molding the media narrative has never been more apparent than it is now. Truly, this situation exposes the deep flaws in media practices. The media's duty to remain fair and unbiased is a delicate balancing act, especially when dealing with A-list celebrities like Blake and Ryan. This case has shown just how easily that balance can be tipped. Lively's PR team has clearly mastered the art of manipulating the media for their benefit. But according to Friedman, the New York Times simply went along with it. Instead of pausing to ask, are we hearing both sides? They dove headfirst into sensationalism, presenting Blake's accusations as undeniable fact. As Friedman points out, this reckless approach has inflicted massive damage on the reputations of the Wayfair parties. They never bothered to verify the details or consider alternative perspectives, leaving the truth behind a cloud of exaggeration. The burning question remains: how much power should the media wield in these cases? Should they serve as judge and jury, or simply report the facts responsibly? This blatant disregard for balanced reporting not only undermines trust, but also risks shaping public opinion on a biased foundation. Now, shifting gears to the courtroom drama, this is where the real fireworks begin. Friedman is adamant that this case must go to trial. He insists on holding the media accountable and demands a jury of peers to decide if the New York Times acted recklessly in its reporting. According to him, it is the court's duty, not the media's, to determine the truth. The last thing anyone wants is for public sentiment to dictate the fate of this case based solely on sensational headlines and viral social media posts. With all the twists and turns, Friedman argues that this case is tailor-made for a full, no-holds-barred courtroom showdown. Public opinion wields enormous power, especially when celebrities are involved. This is exactly why Friedman insists that a jury, not the media, should decide what happens next. A trial ensures the legal system takes charge, keeping things grounded in reality instead of letting social media and tabloids run the show. If the case goes to trial, the jury will determine the fate of these reputations. not a string of carefully crafted PR campaigns or flashy headlines. And let's be honest, Blake Lively's legal team is feeling the heat as more details emerge, suggesting her case is on shaky ground. The 170-page document released by Baldoni's team paints a picture of a campaign that goes far beyond a legal battle. It's all about protecting a reputation. Lively's lawyer, Merrill Conant, wisely bowed out when it became clear the case lacked a solid foundation. As more details leak out, public perception of Blake's claims is beginning to shift. If Friedman gets his way and the trial exposes that Blake's accusations were built on sand, Lively's once unassailable reputation could crumble faster than you can say media manipulation. As the case moves forward, it's clear this is more than just a legal battle. It's a collision of press freedom, celebrity influence, and journalistic integrity. Whether Blake can salvage her reputation or if the truth ultimately prevails, one thing is certain: the consequences of this case will be felt far beyond Hollywood. That's a wrap. Stay tuned for more twists, turns, and legal drama.